Oh, God. Two-man show. This is going to be fun.
All right. I'm surprised you didn't invite Miss Danielle and, well, Doug is playing with Rugrats and Ren and Stimpy. Maybe he's working.
No, I figured it was last minute, so
Okay.
didn't find out really too long. So Mike's got his rehearsal, so he will not be here today. And, it's just been a hectic week. So, thankfully, we've got a lot to discuss.
Yeah.
So let's just get everything started and out of the way. Welcome, everyone, to the Dragoon Slayer podcast. I am the Blue Dragoon himself, Daniel the Dragon, and with me for a two-man show is the family man himself, James Haynes.
Hello, everybody.
Mike is not with us today because, as I previously just said, he has a rehearsal, so Mike couldn't be here. So we wish King Hamster Pellet all the best in his project that he's doing for his rehearsals, and we'll see him next time.
Yes.
But in the meantime, in between time, you have us with you to and stay out of the realm of politics, but to just bring things back down into somewhat a level of calm,
Level of sobriety,
if you will, because I would like to go and thank everyone out there who did their civic duty and did what they were supposed to do. And for everyone who is either happy or sad, hopefully we can distract you all from the chaos of the world and give you something to laugh about, and also maybe a few recommendations or things you can avoid for watching. So I want to start off, we do have some wrestling news because they did announce that Monday Night Raw, when moving to Netflix, will be a 3-hour-long show format again, along with the fact that SmackDown will be becoming a 3-hour-long format on USA.
on Fridays.
Yep. So it looks like we're going to have 2 3-hour-long wrestling shows from WWE. Now, I know I've always been a very critical person about the 3-hour-long Raws because it felt like there was too much going on and people were getting lost in the shuffle. When they dropped down to the 2-hour shows, though, it kind of went into everything felt rushed. And now that we know that they're filming back-to-back Raws, it just kind of throws things off a little bit pacing-wise. But the fact that we're going to get a 3-hour-long Raw and a 3-hour-long SmackDown, I'm kind of excited for it.
I thank heavens again with the 3-hour, because like you said, at least no one will go, no pun intended, into the oblivion.
Yeah, unfortunately, people are getting lost in the shuffle.
Yep.
It was actually funny because one of the guys I work with, he was flipping through, he was watching AEW and he was asking me about it, and I was like, I don't particularly watch AEW, but that's just because with AEW on the air and WWE, along with WoW Women of Wrestling, and if you have access to seeing like Ring of Honor and stuff,
TNA and NWA,
there are so many shows. It's hard to keep up as a wrestling fan with what you would want to watch.
Yeah. So
it kind of makes it a little difficult, and that's just preference-wise. It's, you go with what you see that you like. And, I've always stuck with WWE, but I will watch WoW because I do enjoy Women of Wrestling.
Yes.
And they do a great job with their production, and their production value's gone up as well for WoW. But, this is giving a little bit of a renaissance, if you will.
And who would think Jeannie Buss, the owner of the Lakers, owns WoW?
Yep, she is one of the owners of WoW, and she's been putting a lot of production value into it, so I'm very proud to say she's really helping to promote women's wrestling. And, as the production values gets better, I'm pretty sure things are going to really keep increasing. And I want to see where that goes.
Yeah.
Now, on top of that, though, we do have some other things that were going on. We got the trailers that dropped for the Thunderbolts.
Oh, yes.
And we got the trailer for Captain America New World.
Brave New World.
Yep. So Brave New World looks amazing. Yes. I love the trailer. So, Jimmy, what did you think, though, of getting to see Red Hulk.
Han Solo as Red Hulk. That is just hysterical.
I love the one line in the trailer of "I didn't know they come in red."
Oh, that's going to be something everybody's going to been waiting for, and that you get to finally see from thanks to Falcon and Winter Soldier what has transpired.
Well, yeah, and
that's good.
And that's the thing, I like the costume. I know there's been some talk about Falcon wearing like the kind of stormtrooper helmet, and whether that is because it's just an aesthetic thing or if it was something for marketing because other countries don't want to have a black man on their poster, because they did that with Black Panther, the Wakanda movies, because if you notice the Black Panther stuff, when you see him, he's wearing the mask. You don't see Chadwick Boseman, but you do have posters in the U.S. with him without the mask. So it was one of those things where I don't know if it's a marketing ploy or not, but I do think it kind of looks cool, especially because, maybe he's hitting like faster like speeds.
Yeah.
So,
Well, remember that suit is now vibranium, so it's now lighter and can be faster.
And that's the rumor, that it was a vibranium suit.
Oh, that rumor is not a rumor. It is true if you remember the season finale of that show. And speaking of vibranium, and you said Black Panther, they've announced Black Panther 3.
Yep.
Denzel has signed for the movie.
His final movie.
His first Marvel and final Marvel movie, and everything in between.
Yeah,
so, kudos to him.
Denzel's announced his retirement, but I don't know how I feel about the belief that he's really retiring. Denzel's been a staple as an actor for so long, and he's so well loved. But also, Jim Carrey said he was retiring after doing Sonic 2, and he's back for Sonic 3 because the trailer for that came out. So, that one looks good too. So, we've got a lot to look forward to, and seeing all the things that are coming. Marvel is looking to like really push to see where they go, but I'll be interested to see how DC tries to climb back in on the comic book reign, because they have not had it in a while. And because I'm mentioning this, we'll go back and we'll talk about Bad Blood, Bad Blood pay-per-view? Yeah, we'll talk about that in a little bit, but you wanted to go and address something DC related, the Christopher Reeve documentary.
Yes. Thanks to my birthday, the first time ever in the past couple of years, I've been doing something different on my birthday. You know where I was last year. Everybody does as of January 3rd.
Yep.
This year was the first time I was like, wife goes, want to go to the movies? Okay. The Christopher Reeve documentary is playing. And not only that, it was my first Fathom event, which was actually pretty cool and everything. And it was the Christopher Reeve documentary. This is the first of 3 this year that DC Studios under James Gunn stamped the logo. It was Penguin, and it's going to be Creature Commandos. But getting back to this documentary, it spotlights him in his life, how he went to his school, his Juilliard, who he met through Juilliard, which was Robin Williams, Glenn Close, William Hurt, Jeff Daniels, how they all worked on Broadway with the 5th of July, which he did in between Superman. And it's amazing in his life. It details the tragedy of the horse accident, riding accident. And from there, his life, his movie life, you gotta understand. He had 3 kids. Between one marriage, and he had a girlfriend in London, he had 3 kids. And he had to keep money, everything going and everything. So, and he did. And then even afterwards, as everybody saw when he returned to the Oscars, to that standing ovation, he got to go back to Superman, aka Smallville, and he did his Hitchcock with Rear Window, which was a little interesting to everybody. But he also got to be a diplomat in the medical field, a diplomat and a Superman. And you notice in the poster, it's split, Super and Man, because he was, and everything. And what people also may not understand is his best friend is Robin Williams. There's a little quote in there from Glenn Close. I'm not going to spoil it, but it will say this. It's like the ever popular Woody Woodpecker quote, if Woody had gone to the police, this would never have happened. If it's basically like that in a way. So, but it is one of the most enjoyable documentaries. So far, it's got a Critics' Choice. So It's got the first step on the road to getting the what evaded him his whole life, an Oscar. And
I did get a chance to see it, and it is definitely worth a watch. And it does explain, like you said, like the highs and the lows of his career where he needed money to keep flowing. And that was why the couple of Cannon movies came into play, you know, the Richard Pryor Superman 3, but also the
Quest for Peace.
Yeah, which we try not to discuss.
Well, the Quest for Peace was a Cannon. The 3 was under Warner Brothers.
Which it felt more like a Cannon film, but, you know, it's one of those things where the fourth one, Quest for Peace, you know, it did give us John Cryer as Lex Luthor's nephew, which eventually became a great nod because becoming Lex Luthor for John Cryer later on in the CW verse worked pretty well for him. And I thought he did a good job as Lex Luthor. Not as well as Michael Rosenbaum, but it was one of those things where it gave the nod, but also we understand why he took the job. Because when you watch that movie, if you watch it with the commentary on, the commentary track says that it was supposed to be like Bizarro. There was so many other things that were supposed to take place, and I guess because of budget constraints and everything, we didn't get that. So, you know, it's nice to see what we could have gotten, but at the same time, we know what we did get.
Yeah.
And the Christopher Reeve documentary really is something that if you are a Superman fan or even a fan of Christopher Reeve, I highly recommend, because this is a man who really did personify being Superman, where they even talk about how he was doing multiple training sessions because he wanted to put on size to play Superman because he was very thin. Mm-hmm. So it's an impressive story, and his life was cut short, but he led an amazing life, and it's something I definitely think everyone should check out.
And also check out, if you get a chance, the Christopher Dana Reeve Foundation that was established, that the 3 kids are the chairman of the board and everything. Special shout out even to Will Reeve, who not only is in the next Superman movie making an appearance, but he also just got engaged and everything. I've been following him on Insta. And it's a great honor to see that. But they're still doing the work that his father and Dana were doing, which is help those paralyzed, getting them to walk again.
It's really inspirational because not only does that foundation help for people who are suffering from paralysis, but it also does bring more awareness for people with disabilities in general, which I am a big advocate for. Mm-hmm. So I am glad that charity is going on. And I do recommend that anybody check that out. If it's something that they want to support, check the website for Christopher Reeves Foundation?
Yes, you can even Google it and everything, Christopher Dana Reeve Foundation. And remember, Give Back Tuesday comes up in the right after Thanksgiving and all the Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Give Back Tuesday. There's a charity to give to if you wouldn't mind. And everything. So one other movie I'd like to just give a brief on and everything, and you can rent it. Unfortunately, right now it's not ready for Blu-ray or DVD. I've checked. Saturday Night.
Yeah, I have to check that one out.
Yes.
That one looks like it's interesting. I haven't gotten a chance to see it just yet. But
it gives you the best synopsis of why the show became how it is and how it led up to that moment, which is amazing. Jason Reitman is a genius. He's another one that'll, down the line, will get some, at least some gold in his, we'll be wheeling out some gold next year.
Yep, fingers crossed. Now, with that one being said, let's go and let's touch on, because since Mike's not here, we have no AEW, and I don't think there was any PLE, pay-per-view, whatever they want to call them.
That's coming in 2 weeks, but they're setting up between us with Osprey and Fletcher. They're setting up MJF with
But now
Everything
let's talk about the events of Bad Blood.
Oh, yes.
So, Jimmy, you want to cover Bad Blood?
Not only Bad
Reeve,
Blood, between that and the, what was it, in Dubai? Or
The Crown Jewel event?
The Crown Jewel. That was also with everything with that.
The ugliest
belt.
title I've ever seen. Well, at least they don't have to walk around with it. They get a ring.
Yeah, you get the ring. That's like even what Braun Strowman has. He has a ring for winning in Riyadh, the greatest Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
If everybody remembers, which was like, what, 60 men?
Yeah, there was only 2 different varieties of Rumbles where it's traditionally 30.
Traditionally,
we had
30,
the 40.
It started with 20, then it went to 30, then we
140.
140.
And now the greatest one, which would be a 60.
And that where the ever popular hurrah, 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 slid under the ring.
Yep, Titus O'Neil.
Titus O'Neil's greatest shot, which was the best. And they've also had the greatest tag team match, which I forgot who won that tournament. That's how funny it is.
Yeah,
That's like a blur.
Yeah.
In a way, but,
well, they've kind of been treating tag team wrestling as a side note half the time anyway.
But with Bad Blood in all due respect, you had Cody and you had Roman tag team against the Bloodline, and then you had outside coming in was Tonga Loa, and then what? And then you had, what did you have to do? You had to bring in an enforcer, and it was the return of Jimmy Uso, which was great.
Yep.
But then you also had at the end, making his like CM Punk appearance at the Survivor Series last year, you had Dwayne come out, and he's like, what?
Well, that was Crown Jewel, if I'm not mistaken.
No,
that was Bad Blood.
That was Bad
Bad
Blood.
Blood. The problem was that with Bad Blood, like the CM Punk match versus. The problem is Crown Jewel and Bad Blood took place so close together, it's hard to separate which ones took place at which. But,
well, CM Punk had the Hell in a Cell match.
And that Hell in a Cell match was what should have been the main event.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, who's going to tell someone on the board of TKO Sports that they can't come out and make sure their presence is the biggest thing there?
Yep.
Which, unfortunately, I still believe CM Punk and Drew McIntyre put on one of the most brutal...
It was a great clinic.
Yeah, but it was a brutal Hell in a Cell, the likes of which we haven't seen in quite a while.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there was that. You figure, what was it? We had the women's tag team match.
Yep.
So...
And, I mean, they did this. This was the first time they did, like you said, you brought up TKO. TKO did a WWE match at 7 o'clock, and did it on time to have a UFC fight go on.
Yeah, and that's the thing. There's so much stuff going on when it comes to that. So I mean, overall, what would you give the rating for Bad Blood? Because we've talked a lot about wrestling for this episode.
Pretty much, I'd give that at least a 4.5 out of 5. It was pretty good with the 5 matches. Yes. 5 matches that they are now starting to do.
Yeah, lately the cards have typically been about 5 matches. It'll be interesting to see because at the time of us recording this, we've got the Tyson Jake Paul fight, which
is 2 bouts, which is the 2 of them plus the young ladies.
I think it's an 8-card fight though. It's an 8-card match.
Oh boy,
there's like 8 different fights.
They're only pushing to 2.
Well, there's only 2 that are worth it for like really to be a money draw, and. Now, we do have to discuss the Tyson Paul Leadup series that's taking place on Netflix. So they gave us a week before, was like the countdown, 2 episodes, and then on the 12th, they dropped the 3rd episode.
I got to relook at the 3rd again, but the first 2?
The first episode was absolutely amazing because if you didn't know a lot about Tyson... You learned a lot more about where he came from and his upbringing and his kind of training.
Customato was one of the best. I know that because I know him and I know who he was, watching him and everything with Tyson. And I knew Kevin Rooney, and Kevin Rooney I know because he's friends with my uncle and my mother. And because he's from Staten Island.
Not only that, but we've also grown up watching Tyson fights. Even if you weren't a boxing fan. and you were a kid at the time, you were probably dragged to somebody's house because whoever had cable, you were there for those fights.
Oh, you mean the blink and it's over fights?
Yeah, because you didn't know. And even tonight, as the fight is going to take place, I don't know how long this fight is going to last. Because, not for nothing, Paul is very athletic. I will give Jake Paul, he is very athletic. The Paul brothers, both of them, are very athletic and they have talent. But Paul has not been doing this long enough for him to think that this is a good idea. He is a spectacle fighter. As far as I can tell, everything he does is all about the spectacle. He's not there for the technical elements. Yeah, of course, it's a money. And I mean, let's face it, in the first episode of this little docuseries, what does he say? He manifested this fight by going and doing ayahuasca. Now, I'm sorry, but if you went and you took a hallucinogen and thought that I want to fight Mike Tyson and I'm going to make this happen.
You need to go to rehab.
Yeah, because anyone in their right mind will tell you that Mike Tyson is Iron Mike Tyson for a reason. You know, he may not be as young as he used to be, but his skills have not dulled.
No.
And his power is legendary. So the fact that this guy is still going as hard as he does at his age, I'm sorry, but my money, and we've said it plenty of times before, but my money is on Tyson. And I can't give you how many rounds. We'll be lucky if Paul makes it through 3 rounds. Because I don't know if you saw the most recent spectacle, him going and wearing like the diamond plated like ear covering to kind of like throw it in his face that he had bit Holyfield's ear off.
You want to know something? He thinks he could beat Tyson and everything. You didn't even beat Tommy Fury. You lost in a decision. Yeah. But whether you went toe-to-toe with Tommy Fury or not for nothing, you're lucky you didn't face Tyson Fury at the time, because Tyson Fury would have ate you alive too.
Yeah. And let's face it, if you want to bring up about Tyson biting Holyfield's ear off, Holyfield knew he was losing, and he was losing badly. So he kept headbutting Tyson. He kept antagonizing him.
And it cost Mike a lot.
Yeah, it cost Mike a lot, but at the same time, you learn one very important lesson from that. Antagonizing Tyson is not going to get you to win the fight.
The last press conference, he showed Jake Paul.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, and that's the thing that most people don't understand. When a fighter, or it happens in a bar, when a guy slaps another guy, he's with an open palm, there is no respect. If you do not close your fist, you have zero respect for that guy. And Tyson just showed Paul zero respect because Paul thinks he's walking in this fight and it's going to be, I'm the young guy. I'm going to beat this old man. Listen, it's the same. You can almost say for Paul, it's the equivalent of what happened with Cena versus A-Town Down, where you figure he told him, I'm doing you a favor. If you win, you beat John Cena, but you beat an older John Cena, not in his prime. Mm-hmm. If you lose, you lost to John Cena.
Yep.
So you still have to carry that one way or another. Now, granted, Paul's got one advantage that he can walk away with this one, which is if he wins, he gets to say he knocked out Mike Tyson. Even though Tyson's not in his prime, he'd still get to say he beat Mike Tyson.
The only way he's going to beat him is by decision.
And the thing is,
that'd be a miracle.
Yeah, but when it comes down to it, if he loses to Tyson, he has nothing, because he will go down as just another kid who got knocked the fuck out by Iron Mike Tyson. And not only that, it's going to look even worse for him because he got beat by an older, who has not been in the ring in a long time, Mike Tyson.
And he's getting beat in a place that holds a hell of a lot of people.
Oh yeah.
If I was smart, I would have said Atlantic City or Vegas. But no, you want to make a big spectacle. You want to know something? If it blows up in your face, I'm sorry. Not sorry.
Now, I do want to apologize to everybody if this episode does come out a little late, because we do have things going on. My allergies have been really acting up, and anybody who's suffering from allergies knows that it really shuts a lot of stuff down. But I want to take a break so we can show you guys some of the interviews I got at Exotica. So we're going to take a break for a minute, and we'll bring you back in a few minutes. Just hopefully you enjoy, and please just know it was very crowded there, so the audio is going to be a little iffy, and that's primarily because there was so much going on. So let's take a break. Hey, and we're back.
Hello, everybody.
Yeah, hello, nurse. So yeah, no. So hopefully you guys enjoyed my little interviews at Exotica.
Attend next year.
Yeah, if it's still around, fingers crossed. You know, I have a blast every year. I love going to conventions, and whether it's an adult convention, a wrestling convention, a comic convention,
Chocolate convention. Oh, I like those.
There's a chocolate convention?
Yeah. They have that over in the same place as Exotica.
Oh my God.
But here's the funny thing. For every 3 chocolate stations they have that people sell chocolate,
Yeah.
there's a lady selling adult desserts, which are alcoholic cakes.
Okay.
Then you got the empanada lady. Then you got another guy selling cheese. Then you got hot sauces galore.
All right.
You guys say more.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's definitely plenty to do, plenty to see at conventions. You know, I love going to Anime NYC. Wish I could have made it to Comic-Con. You know, there's too many conventions that pop up around the same
And the big
time.
event's about to come up.
Yeah.
Whoopee.
Yeah. So, now, one thing that I did want us to discuss, and we talked about it, is we're going to discuss the first 3 episodes of The Penguin.
Very good.
Now, I watched the first 3 episodes.
I'm all done.
I'm glad you're caught up because I have to say I'm impressed with the visuals. Mm-hmm. I think the actors are great, but I am not interested in this really. I believe I actually fell asleep during the second episode. It's not a slant on the production quality because it looks like it's really good, but I'm not a fan of the mobster stories. And they seem to make Penguin more of a mobster, but I honestly can't tell. When you see the footage after each episode on Max where they're talking and you see Colin Farrell outside of the makeup, you're like, that is not him. It can't possibly be.
It's like, holy crap.
Yeah, so I have to say, like, their makeup team is absolutely phenomenal. If you didn't watch The Batman, you're not going to understand some of the things that are involved in this one. You know, you can be a Batman fan, but the way they're telling this story, it has a couple of interesting things. But part of my problem is that I'm looking at the mob boss's daughter, and all I keep thinking is, that's the mom from How I Met Your Mother. And she's a good actress, but that's what I see her as. It's like that one role kind of got stuck in my head. And it's a shame because she's playing somebody who is not mentally all there.
No.
And as a crime boss who's mentally not all there, it should be interesting.
And they also, if you've noticed, they mention about dementia and everything else at the end of every broadcast.
Yeah. So do I think that it's not for me? Yes. But I also think part of that is also the pacing, where I'm somebody who I like the pacing more of something like Agatha All Along. You know, this to me just isn't where I see myself watching. So I can't see like really continuing on, even though I'm a huge like Batman fan. So Jimmy, what is your like overall breakdown?
I agree with you on the mobster layout because I've understood, I mean, I've seen the Batman, of course, and I've watched Gotham, if you can also even a little bit compare, just a little, because if you look at Gotham, it talks about Jim Gordon in that one.
Yeah, it had more of a police element.
This one is supposed to be the mob because if you've read the comics and everything down the line, the Maroni family, Falcone, all these Gigante, all these families you're going to hear are gone. And there's 2 people running Gotham. One is him, and the other is Harvey Dent.
Yep.
And it's very interesting to see that in the comics, especially seeing Harvey Dent afterwards, who put half these people away. And it's like, wait, you want me to...
Well, that's also kind of like the Red Hood storyline.
Yeah.
Where when Jason Todd came back as the Red Hood, what did he initially do? He went to and took down the mob bosses and basically made them work all under him, and he was more than willing to kill them if they did things he didn't want them doing, because he was controlling crime. Now, granted, can you control crime by controlling the criminals and still letting them do stuff? Yeah. But at the same time, is it ethical? No. So it's one of those things where it's, we have to look at the overall tone. And I think if you were a fan of The Sopranos, you're gonna love The Penguin.
Yeah.
But that's also because there is no Batman. There is none of like the crime fighter element. This is all the criminal element.
Yeah, it's the other side of the of the story.
Yeah, don't be mics. Don't start smacking the microphone.
I know. I did that when I was just moving.
Yeah, I know. No, but it's one of those things where, because it is a criminal element.
Yeah.
And we're focusing primarily on that. Mm-hmm. And that's not really my cup of tea. So I don't really think it's for me. Now, do I think other people will enjoy it? Probably. But me personally, I could see myself watching this just out of boredom. But if I've already started like drifting and falling asleep while watching the second episode, it's not working for me. And like I said, I think the costuming, the actors are doing a great job. The makeup effects are phenomenal. And they definitely should win an award for the they definitely need an award.
Yes, without a doubt, even an Emmy.
I'm sorry, but your makeup effects make Colin Farrell not look like Colin Farrell. You've got one hell of a team there.
I think they got nominated for an Oscar for that.
Yeah,
for his makeup,
and they definitely should for a. I would say, because this is like a TV. This would be more for like the TV awards. So this would be Emmy. Yeah, so I think they definitely deserve, at the very least, for makeup effects. Mm-hmm. I like Matt Reeves' writing, but I know this isn't him. But at the same time, because he's not really the showrunner.
No, I've seen who the showrunner is, and she looks like she knows what she's doing.
You can tell, like, from the interviews after the episodes, she cares about the characters, she cares about the story, and she has a good grasp on who these characters are and giving them layers. But to me, it's just not for me. And that's the only thing I'm going to say, because I'm not going to say that the show is bad in any respect, because I've watched 3 episodes. 3 episodes is more of enough for me to make a decision on if I want to continue or not. And unfortunately, I'm going to be passing on this one. Even if I do watch it just to finish it off, it's not something that I feel like I'll want to talk about. Mm-hmm. This isn't that water cooler show for me.
I don't blame you. I finished it. I thought it was pretty good. Now I'm waiting to see what they're going to do next.
Yeah. And so how many episodes are there in total? 8 episodes in total for the first season. Did they leave it open for a second season?
You might, Rabbit. You might. They basically left it open for a couple of things.
Okay. No, not asking for spoilers. That's why this is more me questioning, since you're caught up, if it's something that it's one where we can actually see more stuff going on, if this is going to continue. Because I know there's also supposed to be another Batman spinoff show, because they made it seem like they were doing like 2 different shows from the Batman. Mm-hmm. I just don't remember, because
exactly.
The Batman was not it wasn't my favorite Batman movie. So like if I have to rank all of like my favorite Batman movies, the Batman ranks, because I'm not going to put like Batman v Superman and stuff, because I don't consider that a Batman movie.
No.
Even though Affleck as Batman, I loved, but I have to say, like, the Batman falls before Batman. We'll start from the bottom up. For me, it's Batman and Robin, Batman Forever, The Batman, the Christopher Nolan trilogy, and then Batman Returns and Batman, and I have to give an honorable mention to Batman, what is it, 69?
68.
68. Batman 68, the Adam West one. It's an honorable...
That's the table setter.
It's a palate cleanser, because it was goofy. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, it was goofy, and it also set up all the characters in the for the TV show, and then it set up Romero, Nicholson,
but
Meredith, DeVito, and etc.
But for me, really, Michael Keaton's Batman in '89 is number one.
Yeah.
It's the first movie that I can say I ever went to the theater and saw more than once. And to get me to go to the theater to see more than once really is something that really has to be good. I think the only thing else that's done that has been like Lord of the Rings, like to get me to go back in and want to see it again. So, like, where would you place?
I place at least Batman and Robin is at the bottom for me too.
It's usually the bottom for everybody.
Everybody's got it for everybody for that one. Then I'd put, well, Batman Forever. I put a little bit up, like I'd have it as a tie with that and the Batman and everything. And then I would have the Nolan trilogy a little bit higher than Batman Returns.
Okay.
Because I thought it was pretty good. And then of course, you have Keaton as that one.
Yeah. See, I like the fact that like they have the goofy elements. I'm not so big into where I don't like the serious Batman as much. I like him having the dark tone of like Keaton and even like Batman the Animated Series, but still having like some of the rogues galleries that are a little more ridiculous. You know, let's face it. When you look at Batman's rogues galleries, you can't really take it completely seriously, because when you look at some of the villains he's gone up against, like Condiment King, you know, when you take that Clayface, I want more of the supernatural kind of like the Abomination, the science experiment villains, you know, Man-Bat. Yeah. You know, I want to see stuff like that. This grounded in reality, this grounded in reality Batman stuff, to me, I find it a little boring. Nolan did a good job with it, but at the same time, it's also one of those elements where it's like, I feel like you were lacking. Because, yeah, you gave us Two-Face, but you gave us a scarred Two-Face. It was a psychological villain. The Joker was all psychological, but it wasn't like where we got someone like Mr. Freeze. Now, granted, I didn't particularly care for the Mr. Freeze and Poison Ivy we got in Batman and Robin, but that was also because it was taken more of as a joke.
Not only that, they gave us a Bane that was like...
Yeah, which most people forget that we did get Bane in that version. I mean, granted, the costume looked pretty accurate, but they made him just a dumb...
They made him a sidekick.
Yeah, not even a sidekick. They made him like a dumb background character, just carrying Poison Ivy's bags, where it was cool to see the venom going through like the tubes and stuff, but it just didn't work. You know, you give me someone like Hector Elizondo's performance in like the animated Batman stuff. It's like, as Bane, those were things that were cool because he was intelligent. He was actually like using his brain, and then he hits the venom to get like that real power boost. And that's the kind of stuff I want. Like, I want the more ridiculous kind of out there stuff. I'm not asking for like Batman 68. Like,
that's true.
I don't want to see like the goofball stuff of what were some of the villains from there that were ridiculous. King Tut.
Well, King Tut was even in the comics, but
Eggman,
the Archer,
Egghead,
which was Vincent Price,
the
Archer, which was Art Carney, the Minstrel, the Bookworm,
they had some ridiculous villains. Although I wouldn't mind maybe seeing Clock King or like Scarface and Dummy.
Oh, they had Clock King in there.
Okay, but
they had Clock King. They had even the Sandman.
Okay, but Scarface and Dummy. I think that would make kind of like a fun movie. Or even like if they were like even not as the main villain, but like Batman coming in where you've got a bigger villain, but he's foiling the plot early on and taking down Dummy and Scarface. So having the ventriloquist holding like a Scarface dummy would have been awesome to see. And I'd love to see something like that. Matt Reeves just took it too dark, too serious. Nolan went serious, and I think that was it should have stopped there. But it's like we need more of the fantastical. Yeah. It's a comic book world. Because even when you look at Marvel hits stuff that it's ridiculous, it's fantastical, but at the same time, what are you seeing with it? You're seeing them go and come up with some goofy villains. I mean, what was it? Having the Mandarin not being the Mandarin, but actually like an actor was like great. And seeing that he's going to show up in Wonder Man, I'm looking forward to that.
Yes.
And that's the thing. There's so much stuff to look forward to, but Batman's one of those characters where Batman's got to be serious. The rest of the world should seem kind of insane as far as I'm concerned. Not only that, but I mean, if you're going to introduce Robin, for the most part, you got a kid running around dressed in like a colorful elf type costume, which the funniest thing about it is he wore that costume as a distraction so that the enemies would shoot at a child. You know, you got to take the good and the bad with it.
I mean, yeah, he had with the series he did on Prime, it was a lot different. It was more like a darker.
That was the golden age.
Yes.
It was it was a golden age Batman. They hadn't introduced any of like the crazy sci-fi stuff. Batman with Adam West was the crazy sci-fi stuff.
Yep.
You know,
the Bat-Zooka.
Yeah. Bat shark repellent. And that's the thing, you know, there's so many different things that they can do with Batman, and you can go ridiculous, you can go fantastic. I think we need to go back and just not take it all so seriously. I think that's what DC's really been missing, is they're taking themselves too seriously. Now, wasn't on our agenda to talk about, but have you been keeping up with the final season of Superman and Lois?
No, go right ahead and talk away.
Now, Superman and Lois, I'm not like loving this version of Lex Luthor, because it's the same actor who portrayed Abraham on The Walking Dead.
Okay.
So Michael Cutlass, I think?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a bald Lex Luthor, but he shaves his head. He has he's got the long beard, goatee thing. To me, this is too vengeful of a Lex Luthor. He's not as cerebral, but they did do the death of Superman by having him use. Because if you saw the previous seasons, they introduced an alternate universe, basically Bizarro Superman, but they turned Bizarro Superman from the alternate world into Doomsday. And he rips out Superman's heart. And we have General Lane uses like a formula that was used from Superman's blood to basically he injects it into himself, and that's how Superman gets a new heart. But he's not as strong. He's starting to see he's getting like a few gray hairs and everything. But now both of his sons have powers. Mm-hmm. And they finally introduced Jimmy Olsen in one of the most recent episodes, because this is not the same universe as the standard CW universe. So it's not the Berlanti-verse that we were used to, because this is another universe. Because they're not mentioning Kara, so there is no Supergirl really. They're not even talking about her. Even though they still had Diggle popping up, it was like, okay, I guess Diggle's kind of like in between the universes. So it doesn't make sense where it belongs in the timeline. But seeing like both of the young his kids and they just have him actually come out, and he drops the secret persona entirely, and has like, you get to see him like back with flashbacks of Tyler Hoechlin's Superman as Clark Kent, like playing softball and like bunting, like, because it's like, you know, I can't be able to do any of these things because then it's like it's cheating.
Yeah.
You know, they kept that wholesome element to it. This final season, I know it's a short one. We're almost done. I think there's about 3 episodes left. Yeah. And I want to see how they end things, because then this is the end of the TV shows. And it's going to be pretty much an end of an era, because this is the final one out of all of the CW shows.
Yeah.
And then I have no reason to watch the CW anymore, because outside of NXT, there's nothing really to watch.
Line.
Yeah, but for the most part, I can watch the older episodes of Who's Line. What is it on, like Cozy TV and stuff?
No, they have it on, what is it, TKO TV or something? TTV?
Yeah.
To be determined TV.
Yeah.
And if that's where they have that, and they got the old SNLs on there now.
Yeah,
And everything
it's like a channel or two above the Me TV tunes.
It's $12.95.
Yeah.
$12.96 is Me TV.
Yeah, and lately I've decided I'm going to go into like the 1200 channels and start watching the classic shows, because I saw like they've got old episodes of Wings.
Yes.
I make fun of Mike for watching like
They have
nothing
Head
but
of the
old
Class.
stuff, but Head of the Class, I tried watching it. I can't do it.
I enjoy it. I watch my three.
I can't do it
episodes.
for one reason. Dan Schneider. He's the reason why, like, I can't go back and watch that old show. And I used to love that show growing up.
What I do is I look at this show, I look at what happened, and I start evaluating everything just because of him. And I'm like, you're not for nothing. I am happy and respectable that Brian Robbins, he got to do, everybody forgets, he did Varsity Blues.
Yep.
He did Smallville.
Yep.
So he's got himself some good. He left the trouble.
Yeah.
Which was great and everything.
Listen, they had a great cast for the original Head of the Class.
Yep.
The problem is, like, going back to watch it now.
And knowing what's going on.
Not only that, there's a way to separate the art from the artist to an extent. Am I still going to listen to some older R. Kelly songs because in the 90s we didn't know about it? And basically, how are you going to watch Space Jam again and not hear I Believe I Could Fly? There are certain songs that are just associated with the decade. They're associated with a time period.
Yeah.
And, do I want to listen to any of Diddy's stuff? No, but I really didn't want to listen to his stuff anyway. So it's...
Do you want to go to Costco and get baby oil?
No, because they don't even sell baby oil at Costco. So it's one of those things where, separating the art from the artist is one of the hardest things that anyone can do.
It's hard, but sometimes I can, granted, I can do it. You got to do it in baby steps in a way.
Yeah, but
because what also aggravates me is I watched it now. I'm into the season, I believe it's 3 or 4.
Okay.
Of Head of the Class, and Rain Pryor is in it. Now, a friend of mine is friends with her brother.
Yeah.
Richard Jr. And I've heard all the all the way to Triple Q, as I say, stories about what's been going on even with their father, and rumors that they might do Brewster's Billions and everything. And I was telling my friend that if they do it, they also should talk to the estate of John Candy, because I don't know if people realized this years ago, John Candy owned a football team.
Yep.
He owned the Toronto Argonauts with Gretzky and Bruce McNall, and and his estate after he passed. And I remember reading the article in either the News, the Post, or there was a sports paper back then, and they had to ask the estate of John Candy.
Yeah, and that's the thing, but this is where, like I say, separating the art from the artist can be very difficult for people, because, and not to be political at all, but when you go and Harry Potter became a staple and was something that helped get a lot of kids able to want to get into reading. And it was it hit at the right time, the right age group. Mm-hmm. And J.K. Rowling made a buttload of money, or should I say several tons of money.
Yep.
And the thing is that her outlook on the world and not respecting trans rights and stuff. Now, I get it that it may not be for everybody. You don't have to understand things. But the way I try to look at the world as, okay, something may not be for me, but does it affect me? Is it hurting anybody? If it's not hurting me, it's not hurting anybody else. I don't fucking care. Let live and let live, you know. But J.K. Rowling has become a very divisive figure. And right now, they're planning on that new Harry Potter series. Yes. And basically, I don't think it's going to start until 2026.
Yeah.
They're talking, or even 2027. They are talking about filming seasons 1 and 2 pretty much back to back, just to be able to capitalize on the actors not aging too much in between.
That'd be smart.
Which I think is a smart idea, especially considering that they pretty much are guaranteed a 7-year run, or at least 7 seasons. The problem's just going to come up where are people going to be able to accept and watch something that, one, you're going to already associating like Daniel Radcliffe as playing Harry Potter.
Yep.
So that's going to be hard separating the actors from the characters that have already done it so well. But then the other part tends to be people don't want to give J.K. Rowling any more money. Mm-hmm. And how much money is she profiting off of this? And it's very difficult when all is said and done of where do you draw the line? And I have a problem with it for certain things, and other things I don't. But it's all a matter of how much do I like it? How much do I respect it? Do I appreciate X, Y, and Z? Can I overlook something? You know, I can sit there and say, Vince McMahon's got all these charges against him, and he does not come off looking good at all.
Nope.
But yet, can I still watch wrestling? Yeah. Do I like the opinions of some of the wrestlers and stuff? I have to try to separate the characters that they're portraying on television versus who they are as a person outside. So it's a fine line, and I understand why anyone would have a hard time not being able to make that distinction or being able to look past it. And I'm not going to fault anyone if they choose not to watch like the new Harry Potter series because they don't want to support J.K. Rowling, because frankly, I can understand it. I don't like the policies of a company like Hobby Lobby or Chick-fil-A. I don't go and buy their shit. You know, I'm not going to go buy sandwiches from a chicken place that's closed on Sundays.
Yeah.
What if I wanted chicken on Sunday?
And there's no Popeyes nearby or a KFC.
Yeah, so it's like, what? I got to go to McDonald's and try the new chicken Big Mac?
No.
I'm actually a little curious about that one.
People are curious, though, but no.
But it's not the same thing. So, but I'm not going to... We have the right to protest however we want with our dollars. And that's where corporations have to understand that our dollars are the things that are going to make a difference. You're frozen. So...
Oh, great.
Yeah. Let's see if we can... Yeah, Jimmy's camera froze. That
There we go.
didn't stop the recording at all, but, you know.
Nope. Hi.
Yeah, still frozen.
Oh, let it go. Let it go.
Yeah, well, you know, trying to just see there if we can... Hopefully. Maybe.
We got a red light.
Okay, but yeah, no, screen still. Technical difficulties, folks.
Please stand by.
Please stand by. No, don't do that again.
No.
We've already seen what happens when we do that. Yeah. Well,
Strangers in the night.
Yeah.
Exchanging glasses.
Exchanging glasses.
Exchanging glances. By the way, while we got a shot, and I know we're trying to get this technical stuff and everything, speaking of sound and music, have you heard what Lin-Manuel Miranda's new project is?
No, I have not.
Well, you have seen the original Warriors, right?
Okay, of course.
He has developed right now, it's an album. It's a concept album he's developed. He's using this logo. He's got permission to use the logo. He made an album, and it's out on iTunes. You can listen to it also probably on Spotify as well.
Okay.
And basically, it sounds like he wants to make a... Here we go. Hi, everybody.
Yep, we're back.
He wants to make a Broadway show. And from...
Of the Warriors?
Of the Warriors. And for him to do, but you want to know something?
I know, but I'm just trying to just picture.
Can you dig it? No, but I've heard.
Not even that. It's more the baseball gang with like half their faces painted and stuff.
Hey. But he wants to. He's got the album out. It's been selling very well, and everything. And he's been on heavy promotion throughout between Kelly Clarkson, between Hollywood, and everything. So let's see where it goes from here.
So now, before we go, I know like my prediction for the fight tonight is Tyson is taking this one. Jimmy, I'm pretty sure you're on the same page as me on that one.
Without a doubt, without any hooks, line, or stinkers.
So now the question is going to be, how many rounds do you think this is going to go? Because we're making a prediction in advance. Mm-hmm. I will maybe post on social media my reactions to it afterwards. It all depends because these allergies, like my head is really killing me. Mm-hmm. So we're trying to keep the show a nice short show today.
Yep.
So what do you think? How many rounds?
I'm going to say at least the maximum, hopefully the maximum and minimum, 4 rounds.
You thinking 4?
I think, but he could finish him earlier than that. But I'm going hopefully 4 because if they go 8, I'll be aggravated.
I'm thinking 3 because I think after the first shot, that if Paul can get up after taking a direct hit from Tyson once, he's going to be really second-guessing everything, and I don't think his legs are going to recover where Tyson's going to give him one body shot, and he won't be able to breathe for the rest of the fight.
I think he should be quoting Roberto Duran after that first couple of shots. You know what that was?
No.
No mas.
Oh, yeah.
No mas, no more.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Paul might be coming off as a tough guy, but I'm old school, and I got to go with Tyson.
Yeah.
So now we don't really have anything planned for our next episode because Mike's not with us this week. So once again, we want to thank Mike and hope his rehearsal's gone well. So Jimmy, you want to give the socials?
Absolutely. You can reach me on Snapchat at JamesSI0925. Instagram and Threads, JamesH_4th. That's all in lowercase. Facebook, James Haynes the 4th, and on TikTok, James0925.
And you can find me, the Blue Dragoon, at Blue Dragoon 13 on TikTok, Instagram. You can watch the YouTube channel. You can find me on Threads. You can also find me on Blue Sky Social. That's right, because I do not really want to be on X anymore. It's not something that I feel is productive to my own mental health. But yeah, I would make this suggestion for people to start switching over to Blue Skies because there are blue skies everywhere. But you can also find Blue Dragoon 13 on TikTok as well, along with a link on my Twitch page to the Discord channel, and hopefully you can join our community. If you want, you can find the Dragoon's Lair podcast at the Dragoon's Lair podcast Facebook and Instagram pages, which Mike is typically running. So you can find us there. Make sure you listen to us on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, any podcast platform that you go and enjoy. Make sure you check us out. Leave us a like, a share, follow. Make sure on the YouTube channel you subscribe to the channel, like the videos. It helps us out. Leave any reviews, comments. On the Spotify page, if you're on there, you can take part in our quizzes. Well, not really a quiz, more of a poll. If you join and take our polls, you can answer some wonderful questions, and you can be part of the community there. And you can also, because I have not said it once this episode, you can email us at dragoonslairpodcast@gmail.com. That's all one word. Dragoon is spelled with 2 O's. That's dragoonslairpodcast@gmail.com. I feel so out of sorts.
Oh my God.
You could tell
we need Allegra for that.
My allergies are really acting up because if I'm forgetting to promote the email address, there must be a problem.
I forgot too.
Yeah, you didn't even set me up for it.
Damn.
So once again, you can send your emails, comments, questions, and concerns to dragoonslairpodcast@gmail.com. That's dragoonslairpodcast@gmail.com. All one word. Dragoon is spelled with 2 O's. That's dragoonslairpodcast@gmail.com.
And we should be back, I believe, after Thanksgiving.
Yes, our next date is supposed to be the day after Thanksgiving. We will all be in a turkey coma for the most part. So,
Now, last year Dan posted a very good poll question, and we're going to bring it back again. All right? Dan is as he smiles and can say, he likes sweet potato pie.
Yep.
I prefer pumpkin, but I'm also trying, thanks to Dan, sweet potato pie. Picked up a nice little one at the Super Walmart.
Yep.
In Linden. Nope, that's just a cheap plug. Sorry.
Cheap
I got the
poppin' plug.
Mankind plugs.
Yep, cheap.
But give us your opinion on that. Sweet potato, pumpkin. Your choice. Thank you very much.
Now, I know last year that the pumpkin pie won the poll, but yeah.
Might have some turn.
Maybe you've try something different. Maybe that sweet potato pie was just calling for you and you felt that little bit of a craving for it. I know I do. So give in to your cravings, give in to the dark side and try the pumpkin pie, but stay for the sweet potato pie.
Join the Army for the sweet potato pie. See the Navy for the pumpkin.
Yep. And make sure you go and tune in to us next time. Thank you all for tuning in. I want to thank you all once again. And remember, folks, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Now get out.